And then now we got the Vikings. Or sorry, my bad. The USC Vikings, not the Minnesota Vikings. Because
Right.
they loaded up on the Trojans. I'm wearing the hoodie. Jordan Addison is one of the best route runners in this draft. He was a guy I had a late first, early second on. To me, this makes a lot of sense because you're adding a guy that can not only help Justin Jefferson stay open, because eventually teams are just going to double team him, bracket him, all that. But Jordan Addison's too good to just leave alone. That you also have KJ Osborne and you have guys like Jalen Naylor who they do like. So they only drafted one receiver. They're putting a lot of Bleav in guys like, Naylor. And so for me, Addison, day one slot receiver. Day one.
Yep.
No questions asked. Can get off the line of scrimmage, has that third gear when the ball's in the air. He turns it on to another level. He was the Biletnikoff Award winner at Pitt in 2021. His biggest issue this year is that while he was great, he just didn't have as many touchdowns. I don't care about that. College stats don't mean everything, right? So this guy, really good pick for the Vikings. And then they got Mekhi Blackmon, who was one of my guys. I thought Mekhi Blackmon, people were sleeping on, and they were. But NFL teams weren't sleeping on him. He went 102, and that's exactly where he deserved to go.
Like it, yeah. Like you said, it might be a USC team or maybe even LSU team with the defensive guys that they got, right? And Jay Ward and Jacqueline Roy. So, but going back to the USC guys, when it comes to the receiver position with Jordan Addison, the fact that he won the Biletnikoff Award at Pitt and then went to USC and still found success, that has to say something. Put him on my team. So you got him and Justin Jefferson on the same squad. That's going to be a problem, right? We see two of these cornerbacks, and Mekhi Blackmon and Jay Ward, they're going to have their hands full at practice. They're going to have some long days at practice because they got some guys that can ball, probably some of the best. Jake, I mean, these guys might be one of the better receiver combinations in the NFL. I know the Ravens, they're stacking up a little bit. I know some other teams are stacking up, but this could be arguably one of the better receiving cores when it's all said and done. So I like it, Jake. You mentioned it, doubling down on the quarterback for the Vikings. If you Bleav in your guys, you Bleav in your guys, and the draft will show that, right? And another thing as well, just to see who they have to back him up. We have a Jaren Hall coming out of BYU, one of your guys as well. I know you've been talking highly about Jaren Hall. What do you say? Scout the player, not the helmet, when it comes to a guy like Jaren Hall with that BYU helmet. So I'll pass the mic over to you, but I love it, Jake. They're doubling down on their quarterback at the Vikings. They're having protection or having someone behind him to play as well, and then some receivers to throw to, some cornerbacks to get him the football back. But what are your thoughts on that Jaren Hall pick there for the Vikings?
Yeah, I think Jay Ward is being slept on. I had him listed as a safety. I see they might have drafted him as a corner. He was a top 10 safety on my board. So another really good pick by the Vikings. I pick 134. They didn't have a second round pick because keep in mind you have to take into account they traded for TJ Hawkinson. That is their pick. So that was a good move, I thought. That was good. I didn't think the Lions would move a first-round tight end who they drafted early first round for him. But, hey, especially not to a division rival. But the Vikings knew what they were doing. They're cooking with grease there. Jaquelin Roy is somebody that I think is going to be a pretty solid NFL pro. He'll be one of those guys that sticks around for a while. Could he start? I won't rule it out. I think that was a good pick in the fifth. Jaren Hall, I love the pick. Because here's the thing. Jaren Hall is not a fifth-round prospect. Jaren Hall fell to the fifth round, I found out, because of the injury concerns. Okay, He hurt his shoulder, I Bleav it was. So that's why he fell to the fifth round. But this is somebody that doesn't need to play right away. Okay, I said he makes half-field reads. He's not ready to start. But he's going to be behind Kirk Cousins. So give him 2 years, and this guy could be your franchise quarterback. And I Bleav that. I know some people were saying he's just a guy on our channel, under the clip I put. And then there were some people that were like, hey, all right, Jake. All right, I agree with you, Yeah, but for me, Jaren Hall in the fifth round, I mean, he was the best quarterback by far available at that point. So I love that pick. And then DeWayne McBride, he's got the tools. There are people that were concerned about his off-the-field issues. Now, I won't really get into it because I didn't really see any. But I didn't look that hard. I was just scouting his film. He's an interesting one. There were people that had all sorts of grades on second, third, fourth. I saw him as a late day 3 as well. So this is like he got drafted where I expected. His biggest issue, Cam, a lot of fumbles. He's got to get better in ball security. Got to do more of those curls, you know?
Got to do more of those
you brought that
curls.
up last time, so I had to throw that out.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's how you protect that football is do them curls, work on your hand grip. But I do see here, right? Like for PFF, he has a 94.1 grade in 2022. So that's dang good, right? 4.6 yards per carry or yards after contact per carry. So that's big time. But the fumbles, Jake, the game is called football. If you can't protect that football, you won't be playing football. So for McBride, he's gonna have to figure that out the next level when he gets to the Vikings because that's that can win you games and lose you games. So that's something that's going to have to be figured out there. Like you said, he's a 7th rounder, so definitely find his way on special teams. That's going to be important and prove that he can hold on to the ball. That's that's key there.
I'm with you there, man. I'm definitely with you there. I think all in all, I would say this division gets a collective grade of an A minus. I'm going to give a B plus to the Vikings. I think really when you look at it, the Vikings, their UDFA class, they go out and they get Ivan Pace Jr. We talked about him a little bit. We touched on him on one of our shows. Andre Carter II. So I like that pickup. So they went out and they got some guys that I'm looking at in undrafted rookie free agency. Very interesting. But one name to look out for. Ready for this, Vikings fans? One name to keep an eye on. And this is courtesy of the czar of the playbook, Emory Hunt. Cam, I don't know if you know who he is. He's a great dude. He knows his thing. He scouts these small school guys. He's been talking about this guy on CBS Sports. When they say sleepers, he went with a deep sleeper. Former quarterback, looks like he's turning wide receiver, Southeastern Louisiana's Cephas Johnson III. Okay? Just remember that name. Because I think he can ball at a quarterback. Like, I think he's a good option to fight for a quarterback spot. But the guy is also, he's built kind of like Cam Newton a little bit. And he's also working out at wide receiver. So we'll see what ends up happening. 6'5", 226 pounds.
Woo.
My man has it, you know?
Yeah, that's a big boy.
So, yeah. So I just wanted to give Cephas Johnson the third a little shout out there, and Emory Hunt, who does an incredible job. He scouts all these players no one else really has time to scout. He's got like 1,000 prospect reports on his thing. He's a friend of my show, so gotta give him a shout. But yeah, Cephas Johnson's a guy to look out for. For the Minnesota Vikings.